Tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Talk for week 2 is here. It's ready. It is me, Patrick Mears, and Omar Carmona. This is going to be part 1 of the Sunday Night Talk. It is diced up into 2 parts this week due to technical issues, timing, and I'm bummed out because of the Raiders loss. Nah, not really. We just split it up into 2. Omar is here. We're going to talk about his team, my team, the Sunday night game, and a bunch of weird finishes. And then in part 2, we have the game and the awards. So stick around for that. But before we get to the episode, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to it. We picked up some new subscribers this week, so welcome everybody. And announcement, I will be at Let's Ride Cyclery this week, September 26th at 8 p.m. doing live stand-up comedy. So you have a chance to come out and see a show then. I'm on it with a few other comics as well. A lot of fun. So once again, here is part 1 of the Sunday Night Talk. Omar sits down, gives us a brief synopsis of how it's going on the campaign trail as well. And then we talk our Sundays in the NFL. Here we go. The Sunday Night Talk, part 1, right now. All right, it is 8:45 p.m. West Coast time. It is time for the Sunday Night Talk. Omar Carmona is with me. We just wrapped up Patriots, Dolphins, one of the oddest endings to a game we've seen in a long time. Omar, have you ever seen a lateral on a 4th down that did not convert to end the game?
No, that was an awfully strange finish, but heartbreaker for New England. Dolphins 2-0. They're looking like a strong team.
I might have texted you this, but how many times did you say during this game, hey, I think the Patriots are in this game. I think this is a good game. And then they would fumble. Yeah. And then they'd throw an interception. And then they'd get a touchdown. Hey, I think this is a good game. And then they turn it over on downs. And then somehow they were in this game to that weird lateral. I don't know. I don't know how to watch these games anymore. I would be a frustrated Patriots fan if it was me.
Well, you know, they have some concerns. They definitely have their weaknesses. A lot has changed since Tom Brady was there.
I want to open. Last week was our season opener. This week, I'm going to try and be a little tighter with my questions and my analysis. Here's my opening question for you. Is 0-2 a deal breaker for you? Any team, just in general, you're 0-2. Is this a deal breaker? Say you're dating a team in the NFL and they go 0-2. What's the mindset?
Things aren't looking good, but things aren't over. Things aren't.
Oh, okay. So I
still think, even though statistics aren't on your side, you know, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Now, going down 2-0-2, that's not good. And again, statistics are not on your side, but I still think it's doable.
So if this was a relationship, this would be like maybe a really attractive person you got a date with, but she suggested you go to Red Lobster. And you're like, oh, that's well, not a deal breaker. There's probably a few things I could eat on the menu there. I'm going to say that is more or less the analogy I'm hearing from you.
Your date's ex is just calling that they're about to get out of prison and they want to see your new squeeze.
Oh, that's 0-2 for you. Okay.
You got problems. There's problems.
I hope there's problems.
I'm not saying it's over, but I'm just saying there's problems.
So Miami goes 2-0. New England is now 0-2. This game starts off, Miami jumps to a 10-point lead, 10-0. New England gets in it with 5:50 left. They get the field goal and they have the possession. They don't do anything with it. The Patriots will not die. They block a field goal.
Right.
They're still in it. Patriots can't seem to finish any drives. Again, I say this might be a game 10 times. All this being said, I don't think Chris Collinsworth can find more ways to compliment both these quarterbacks throughout the game. He loves these two guys. Tua had the bad interception. I always say that's old Tua. When a bad throw comes up, I'm like, ooh, old Tua. He's putting these guys back in there. But overall, this Miami offense is pretty flawless. Like, I don't see anything really do poorly.
No, they are good on the edges. They can run the ball. Tua, if he's not making mistakes, he is quite the efficient quarterback. So they can definitely pull off some wins, and I look forward to them to be playing in January, meaningful football games in January.
I don't even think Tyreek Hill had a really massive game today either. I didn't see his stat line, but it didn't seem like he was having the game he did last week
He
against
did get a score, but yeah, it's just but they have so many weapons now.
And yeah, and Miami has all these weapons, and Tua's got a new helmet, and he's throwing the ball really, really well. I don't know how you game plan against the Dolphins yet. That is a strong, strong 2-0. I was joking with you saying we should do a top 10 like college for the NFL. If we're going to do the top 10, I think Miami's my number one. Do you think anybody's better besides San Francisco has an argument? But who is San Francisco is going to be your number one? Would Miami be your two?
Right now, yes.
Right now, that's the two. It's just there's nothing in there I can see where you can attack. Their defense is really, really strong. I don't know where you go. They're really, really tough right now. I really like Miami.
Dallas isn't a joke either.
Dallas has got to be in there. It's got to be 1, 2, and 3. Those teams. The quality of win might be the only determining factor in choosing who is actually a one, I think.
But then at the same time, then you have Washington that's 2-0, and I think they're like the luckiest 2-0 team right now in the league.
Yeah, they may be like the TCU 2-0. Where you're like, yeah, they're pretty good, but who do they beat? Who do they beat? Western Kentucky State. How did you feel? Okay, two big plays in this game. The personal foul on the Patriots defender on Waddle when they seemingly stopped them on third. Huge. Good call or bad call?
I think I was okay with that call.
Yeah. I think it sucked that it happened, but I mean the helmet hit the helmet. I don't think you can call it any other way. That would have been a big stop. And then didn't it seem like that Laming got the first down, or was I seeing it weird this whole time? I was like, he's got it. Yeah, I don't see how they could determine that was short.
That was a tough one.
Did you think it was short, or you thought he got it?
I thought he was short.
Okay, you did. I just thought, like, I'm looking at it, and it looks like he's on the hash. They marked him a first down, didn't they?
Yep.
And then they reversed it. You thought it was short. I didn't understand that. I thought this had one of those funny Patriot weird wins written all over it. I'm like, this team has been losing the game all day long, and they're going to pull this game off.
Yep.
They pulled it off. How do you think Mac looked in this game?
He hasn't been great. He's not blowing me away. But I think he's still very talented, and he's definitely the right guy, I think, for the Bill Belichick type quarterback. But but then again, I also think that he doesn't have many weapons either.
I was going to ask, like, what is it with him? It's the weapons thing. He had that one play where he rolled out of his end zone and he had the guy deep by a step and he misses the throw. I don't know if I blame that on him or what, but like he missed a few balls that could have been huge. And I mean, they didn't finish any drives all night. Right. I think second quarter through midway through the third, they didn't finish any drives. They couldn't put up any points.
Right. I don't know what's going on there.
Similar to them last week against Philly, where they just got hot at the end. And Chris Collinsworth says it the last drive, Mac Jones is hot right now.
Classic.
That was a fun Sunday night, though. I like it that we get a little action. Patriots are wearing the old school uniforms too. We're still talking Tom Brady with the tribute game.
I was even liking how they did the font of the end zone was even the old 80s Patriots style.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool too. I liked it. Really fun Sunday night game for us to get into. Tirico and Collinsworth are on fire so far this season. They've kept it exciting. I like it. I liked Al Michaels, but I did feel like he was like a little bit on the silly side, and I feel like Chris Collinsworth was slowing down for him to keep up sometimes. Tarico's good.
He's good.
Tarico's a fun one. Last point on the Patriots Dolphins game. Did you catch this? Mike McDaniels is apparently a recovering drinker.
Yeah, that. But you know what? That doesn't surprise me. He's pretty open about everything.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. He's spoken about it. What do you think his drink was? Because I was looking at him, I was like, this guy's a whiskey guy. This guy throws down straight whiskeys. What
I
did you
want to
see him
go.
as?
I want to go with vodka.
What do you mean? Vodka tonic, straight vodka?
No,
What
straight vodka. He likes.
straight?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I I was curious, like, because this game got kind of boring in the third. I thought we should have spent more time on his recovery or something. I thought that would have saved the game, but then the game got interesting and we got back into it. All right, I want to talk your game and my game, but before I do that, you have been on a bit of the campaign trail. You're running for judge of the 65th Family District Court. Do I have that right?
You have that right. Yes, sir.
Okay, you're hitting these little conventions, you're hitting women's conferences, throwing it out there. So I know you're a lawyer, but what is the hardest part about this campaign? Like, is it difficult speaking? What are you doing at these functions?
Yeah, I mean, you're just meeting a lot of people. I mean, and you're basically sometimes it feels like you're seeing the same people over and over again. But you're going to different functions, and you're meeting people, and it's hard to run in judicial campaigns because there are rules that you really shouldn't be commenting on things, because the only time you really should have an opinion on something for judges is on cases that are before your court. Okay. And so if it's not before your court, a court should not have an opinion on anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Unless it's in front of them. So there are rules that I really can't say, well, I'm for or against this. So it's kind of hard to get a message out. I think where I'm benefiting is that I did something kind of big for the community, last year, and getting that DA removed. And so I think the community remembers that. And I think that's been fortunate for me.
Are you giving a speech? Like, are you opening up with your mission statement, your education, your how much
I
time are
don't
you
like
doing?
I can do it within a minute. I've noticed a lot.
Wow, that's a tight set.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I've noticed a lot of people on the trail, they drag. And I think it's very off-putting for a lot of people. I just get up there, I get to the point, and you stand up, sit down. Nobody wants to hear 9 minutes of somebody just talking about themselves at nauseum.
Mm-hmm. You could
So
always jump into some 49er talk if you want.
oh, I'm going to.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to. But now I'm sure when Dallas fans are 2-0, they're very opinionated as well. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Will you see me in a Micah Parsons jersey at some point during the campaign? It's possible.
Oh, really? Wow. I didn't see this. Wow.
If it needs votes, what am I going to do? Dak for president.
Wow, I did not see this coming. All right, I'm checking out your Instagram. I came across two questions. You have a PowerPoint thing going on in one of your Instagrams from one of your presentations. I want to know what exactly is the emoji drug code, because you are dealing with the youth. So this is like what young people are using to describe drugs or other dangerous stuff, and they're using emojis. So break it down to me. What's the emoji drug code?
Well, it's a lot of emojis that dealers use, which they think that if a parent sees something, authorities, investigators, detectives, teachers, if you see these things, you wouldn't think of anything. For example, a large batch of drugs is a big chocolate chip cookie emoji, and yeah. So, or sometimes cocaine is just ice, or or some sort of a snowflake, snow.
Hmm.
Meth is, some sort of crystal or diamond. And so certain types of colors can mean certain types of pills. Um, Things like that.
Hmm. Is the poop emoji still poop?
Yeah, like,
Mm.
hey, I would imagine maybe, hey, this is shit weed. I don't know do you
Good
reply?
point.
Do you reply? I don't know.
Good point. Another aspect that you brought up in one of your posts is you're listing the aspects most dangerous to children. Give me a quick bullet point on what those aspects are.
Dangerous to children?
Yeah,
Of
you have a PowerPoint that says
Well,
aspects dangerous to
I think a
children. What
lot. I
are
think
those?
the biggest thing is just flat out ignorance. A lot of these kids are breaking the law left and right, and I think really they don't even realize they're doing it. There's a big misconception on certain narcotics. Um, THC, vape. Kids are using this stuff, not realizing that it's a felony in Texas. Also, weapons in schools. People aren't realizing how dangerous it is when you make a school threat, and the school takes it seriously, law enforcement takes it seriously, you're going to get in big trouble. There's just things, and also I think kids are very naive when it comes to sharing sharing private things about themselves online. That there are predators out there trying to get a hold of them, and just some things you don't want circulating the web that probably once it's in the internet, you just don't delete something and it's gone forever. That's not
Mm-hmm.
true. It's just because you hit the delete button, people still have a way. Those are the dangers that I try to lecture parents and kids and teachers about.
Are you still running unopposed?
No, I this week I got two opponents.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
now people are nipping at the heels of Carmona, of campaign Carmona right now.
Yeah,
What is there a lead? Are there points? Is there anything going on in the press that we can track? What
no,
is
these races don't typically get a lot of um you, you know these races don't get a lot of attention,
Mhm.
judicial races. So no, there are not, but um we'll see how we'll be seeing each other on the campaign, and I'll gladly give you all updates.
Yeah, well, let's get an attention on this YouTube show, God damn it.
Yeah.
Campaign. All right, that was campaign Carmona letting you know the updates on his run for 65th Family District Court Judge. He is running against two people now. He's got
Yeah.
PowerPoints and he can wrap up his speech in 1 minute, everyone. So, all right, excellent job, Omar. Let's get on to the games. We're going to talk your game, my game. Let's start with mine since mine was the more difficult one of the two to watch. Raiders go all the way to Buffalo, 1-0 Raiders against 0-1 Buffalo. And I would describe this game as a high school team playing a really good high school team. And as you know, I played a little high school football and we did not win many games. And a lot of times we just got run through the line. We would go 3-and-out. They would come to march down the down. We weren't like this was a weird Raider game because we weren't committing a lot of penalties. We weren't shooting ourselves in the foot. We just couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And the most ironic part was we score a touchdown on the very first drive. We get a 3-and-out from the Buffalo Bills. And then that was the end of the game. The Buffalo
It,
Bills couldn't stop scoring after that.
and that was an impressive touchdown, throw and catch um uh that you all had early in that game. That
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Adams effort. It's exactly why you paid him the big bucks, right? But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, yeah, you all just the Raiders just couldn't do much of anything. Just a dominant Buffalo, and Buffalo wasn't that great, I thought, to begin with. They're still having issues with the ball, and they don't seem to be moving as fluid as they were in the last couple of years. But again, Raiders are in worse shape because again, you're the ones with Jimmy G, Pat.
Yeah, you're texting me because I'm all happy that we got a touchdown. And I'm gonna give you the label of you're an angry 45-year-old divorced man when you text me about Jimmy G. You're like the guy who's divorced, and no matter what, they hear about the partner, they go, they'll screw it up. Like you can't give them any credit no matter what. And you can't give any Jimmy G credit his way. I don't think Jimmy G lost it. I mean, the offense did because they didn't score any points. But I don't think Jimmy G was the worst part of this game. The worst part was Josh Jacobs rushed for -9 yards. That certainly didn't help. The defense couldn't get off the field. And I am now going to argue because it happened in another game too. It happened in your game. The tip interception might be the biggest swing in football because Jimmy G has the ball. We're up 10-0, I think. We get a tip interception, and then that reverses the flow of the game. It's not necessarily Jimmy G's fault, but the defense feels so fortunate to get it. It happened in the Rams game too. The tip interception was the end. That was it. We were done. It's not like everybody gave up, but like that was it for Jimmy G and the Raiders after the tip interception. We had an interception that went back against us that had an illegal hands to the face that I thought was going to let us in the door, but it didn't happen. But big issues with the Raiders cannot run the ball at all. It was ugly.
It's not good. I will say that the Raiders you just reminded me a lot of San Francisco in previous years. Just Jimmy G not being effective with the football, not moving the chains. I think I texted you one throw that he had his receiver coming back.
Yeah.
There was a little pressure, but come on,
I think he was trying. I think he was looking at two receivers and didn't know who to throw it to because it was in between, and that was a bad throw. And it's not all on Jimmy G. They didn't even run I think they had 9 rushing attempts by halftime, and Josh Jacobs couldn't rush at all. We're playing from behind, and Jimmy G is a manager. He's not going to get us out of a hole. Josh Allen thinks he's a fullback, and he's running for 13 yards every attempt. And we got some serious questions when it comes to running the ball and defense. We could not get off the field. It's one of the more frustrating things where Buffalo comes out of the second half and they have the ball and offense for like 13 straight minutes. And you're like, I don't think we're ever going to see the ball again, Jimmy G.
Right.
0-1. I'm not going to lose too much sleep about it. Flip side, Buffalo got a great win, a great bounce back win, which this was really a great week for the 0-1s. A lot of 0-1s got their revenge.
They did. Right.
This week. And then next week, Vegas goes into Pittsburgh Sunday night. So we have a great one to react to next week, which that's a very winnable game.
Pittsburgh still has to play tomorrow night. They have Cleveland tomorrow.
Right? 2 Monday night games tomorrow night, which is a little unusual as well. All right. I'm not bummed out about the Raiders loss, but let's talk your team because your team won another one.
Dominant.
I thought they were way more dominant than the score showed on there. I think we have a different Brock Purdy than last year. This dude looks strong. There's no talk.
He looks more comfortable.
There's no talk about the surgery and injury from last year. He hasn't lost a thing. And the Rams are kind of in this game, but again, defense rips the heart out of them. Again, the Niners are very strong right now.
Very strong. I know. Look, I'm the one wearing the red jersey right now. But to me, if there are power rankings, they are number 1. And I think the argument is that it's the best offense, it's the best defense in the league. I think at this point they are only going to be their own worst enemy if they fall short of the ultimate goal. And believe me, this goal this year is Super Bowl.
The only thing I would push back on that is there was a couple plays where the Rams offense stepped on their own foot. There was a play where the Rams receiver ran the wrong route and Stafford threw the ball and it turned into an intentional grounding and that bumped him out of it. And Stafford was pissed.
Yeah, he was.
Plays where Stafford was mad at his.
And I think on that intentional grounding, he was right. He was still well inside the pocket.
Yeah, and if those plays go differently, the Rams are within a one score most of this game. I thought the Rams looked okay. Um,
Well, let's talk
there's a
about this.
garbage time field goal in there, of course, but
Is
I
it
thought the Rams looked all right.
is it fair that it looks like San Francisco gets two home games a year against the Rams?
Oh yeah, that is true. If you're going up against the Rams and the Chargers, put another half a home game on your side, especially if you're a West Coast team.
What do you think that is? You're there. What's going on over there?
Well, the Chargers are the Chargers. No one has any affiliation to the Chargers here. The Rams, I think people like the Rams, but like this city is very hard to describe to outsiders, Carmona, because LA, I've lived here almost 8 years now. LA is saturated with entertainment. Movie stars live here. We have every sports. USC is huge here. UCLA is huge here. We haven't had football for 20 plus years here.
Lakers, Dodgers,
Lakers is the team here. I would say Lakers is the main team here. When they're good, that's where people
and
come out the
and
most.
Dodgers is up there,
Dodgers
right?
are in there too, but Lakers is the most from what I've seen. The other component of it is everybody here is from somewhere else. Everybody moves here. So everybody brings their hometown team with them. So we're like, oh, such and such. Let me check on the Bears. Oh, let me know what's going on with Green Bay. Like the Florida. I know a lot of Florida people here. So it's a tough fan base to build. If the Rams win another Super Bowl, or if the Rams got someone from USC and they were really good, that could flip the tables as well for it.
Okay.
But it's a hard fan base to win over because we have so much transient residents here. It's a really weird community to talk about because like most places have that hometown pride. LA is essentially a rental car. We all drive into the ground.
Okay.
We don't have hometown pride like other cities do. Now the Lakers will get us there somewhat, but it's a tough one. And plus it's so huge here. I mean, this is the
It
size of a
is.
country. So it is a tough one to really, really pin down and for the whole city to get behind a single sports team.
That's
I always
fair.
joke that LA is a town where you come to chase your dreams. However, it's also a town where you come to run from your past.
Okay, I like
You're
that.
like, I gotta leave, I gotta get to LA where they'll understand me. And you get here, it's the same shit. You struggle with the
Maybe
same
that's
thing.
why it's called La La Land. I mean,
La La
everyone
Land.
just like they leave their problems for
Yeah.
to be in complete denial in California.
Yes. Yeah. You leave your hometown and go, fuck you, dad. I'm gonna be in a movie. Fuck you, dad. I'm gonna write a movie. I'm gonna go here and that'll work. It is essentially a town full of college freshmen. You remember those college freshmen that couldn't stop shitting on their hometown in college and stuff like that? That's kind of what LA is in some regard. Now, I will be surprised every now and again, and I'll meet a local here. We'll have that West Coast pride or that demeanor to where, like, yeah, this is my home, this is where I've lived, this is our lifestyle. But I know I just happen to know a lot of people from other cities and states, and it's strange. I've lived here a long time. I have noticed it. One more point on San Francisco before we move on. This was a great week for garbage time. The
It was.
Rams, the Rams are down 10. They spiked the ball with 4 seconds left, down 10, so they can kick a field goal. I didn't check what the spread was on this game, but they made it a 6 point game. That was very unusual. And then lastly, who is Fox's A team announcing? Because this seemed like the marquee Fox game, and we had Mark Sanchez and somebody who I didn't know in the booth in there.
Well,
Who's Fox's guys now? I don't know.
Fox's guys are Greg Olson,
Is that
aren't they?
still the A team?
I think it's Greg Olson, isn't it?
It was last year, but it seemed like San Francisco Rams was the marquee Fox game, don't you think?
No, today it could have been.
Who was the other Fox game?
Wasn't it? You mean the afternoon?
Mm-hmm.
Because today the game of the week was
Seattle?
CBS.
CBS had who?
Dallas and the Jets.
Dallas, right. So Fox might have punted on and said, like, yeah, we'll give you, yeah, go ahead, Mark Sanchez.
Yeah.
We know we're not gonna be up there. Although that was a good matchup, though. Better, arguably the better matchup than Dallas Jets. I liked
Right.
it. Sanchez mixes it up a little bit.
He's not bad. He's not bad.
Mm-hmm. He's very analytical, surprisingly analytical than what I would think he would have been. You know what this was also a good week for, what I enjoy the most? When the early games are wrapping up and then we get bonus coverage and like, we're going to go over to Tennessee where the Titans just got the ball inside the 10 and then they start bouncing around games around the country and they give us little
I
tidbits.
love it.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I like when they
I
do
love
that.
it too.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That was your game. You're very happy that the Niners are 2-0, seemingly invincible right now. Um, okay, I'm going to wrap a bunch of games into this one. This is my thought on Giants, Arizona. Giants have this great comeback, 31 straight points. 1 minute to go in the game. Saquon Barkley is limping off the field. Last
That,
week,
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is done within 1 minute in the game. It's major injuries 2 weeks in a row now. And now if I'm your team, if I'm Miami, I'm like, I'm scared every time my star player gets tackled because there is going to be injuries.
Which only goes to show you there are. It's just part of the game, and it's going to be the winner of this year's Super Bowl. Maybe who's the healthiest team,
Mm-hmm.
February. Because it is his getting a bit much, and I think are these fields, is this type of grass that all these new stadiums have, is this what's best for the game? I think we really need to look at that.
Interesting point. We didn't talk about Rodgers, but I listened to something earlier in the week that a little bit of field turf is somewhat to blame for the Rodgers injury. And my instant rebuttal is we had 15 games all Sunday. Nobody got hurt. Rodgers got hurt. But then someone brought this up to me. Do you know how many teams practice on field turf? Zero.
Yeah.
Zero practice fields are field turf. It's all grass. So these stadiums have field turf because their stadiums need to be multi-use. They need to be concerts. They need to be events. So they're never going to switch it to grass because it's incredibly expensive, and their stadiums need to make an alternative revenue during the off season. Kind of interesting that
That's kind of cool.
it's cool, but it also, if the players prefer grass, and I don't know if what the study is with grass versus turf, actual analytics of injury, but the fact that they all practice on grass says something.
It does.
It's interesting. I don't know if it means anything, but it's interesting because the
Something to
Rodgers
look at.
industry is so fluke, and it's such a bummer because their season was over in a second, and then
Horrible.
going into Jets Dallas, even though the Jets are 1-0, I think everybody is talking to the Jets like they went 0-1. And that game was over. Zach Wilson had the one good pass,
Yep.
made it 10-7. And then that was about it.
Not good. And again, a lot of concerns there. And you wonder how many games is Zach Wilson going to cost the Jets this. I don't think it was all on Zach Wilson today,
It
but
was, yeah.
He didn't look special today either, though.
He did not. He's getting sacked. He's missing. Romo had a good call of trying to tell Zach Wilson when to just throw the ball on the ground when the screen is blown up, and he just holds on to it and gets sacked for -7 yards. He's just throwing the ball in the ground. I thought about this, knowing the result of the game, it wouldn't have made a difference, but you had this great win Monday night. Rodgers goes down. They wore their throwback uniforms, which I didn't know. They should have kept wearing the throwbacks till they lose a game. Keep the good mojo.
I want to review all those league uniform rules. I just think you should let them come out as long as it's lights versus darks. They should be allowed to come out however they want.
Yeah, I assume they could. Maybe they can. Maybe you can only wear throwbacks a certain number of times.
You have to get a certain amount of you have to get permissions.
Okay.
Because your regular uniforms have to be displayed a certain amount of times. Yeah.
I see. Okay. That makes sense. Washington, Denver. I'm going to put this crazy Hail Mary
Well, also,
in
but
the
really,
top
real
three.
quick, going back to the Giants, that how bad were the Giants looking for 6 quarters? Their first 6 quarters of football.
There was a
Yeah.
point where I thought they were going to score any points this season.
Oh, I know. So,
And then
oh
they
yeah,
scored 31 and
yeah,
1.
go on to the next game. Another team, the Washington Redskins, 2-0. If you were to tell me they were an 0-2 team, I wouldn't be shocked.
That's right.
Um,
To you, I mean Washington Redskins. I mean Commanders.
the
They come
Commanders,
back from 21 to 3. Russell Wilson takes a lot of hits, is what I have in my notes. I don't know how long he can keep this up.
Russell
Um,
Wilson is not the same Russell Wilson, and not that we should expect him to be the same Russell Wilson, but he's not. You know, I just again, I think we talked about this last week or a couple shows ago. I think that Russell Wilson was given to Sean Payton, and I think that was part of the deal, basically saying, look, he's your problem for a year, and then we'll get you somebody you want, but this is the way it is for right now, and so they got to make the best of it.
did you like the Hail Mary at the end?
I did. I mean that was a nice.
It was tipped 3 times.
It was, and I just love it how the tips end to the one guy who looks like he's like the least likely to get the ball.
That Hail Mary was awesome because it was snapped right from the 50. Russell Wilson throws it and it goes about right to the 1. So you got this great jump ball situation and everybody goes in the middle. Like the announcer even says, like, this isn't a typical Hail Mary formation because they were all tight.
Right.
The receiver said, I went to the middle of the field and they catch this awesome Hail Mary. And in true Denver Broncos fashion, they need the 2-point conversion. They don't get it. and the game's instantly over.
Right.
That was rough. Back to the New England one. Like I had a quick flashback of Varsity Blues with the lateral to the lineman. I was like, Billy Bob, there we go.
The oop to you.
All right. I put all these teams into one sentence and I want your answer. New York Giants, Washington, Denver, Indianapolis, Tampa Bay. Are any of these teams going to the playoffs? Tampa Bay's 2-0. Washington's 2-0. I think that's it.
The Giants have a chance to be in the playoffs.
Really? Dallas is in their division.
Philadelphia's in that division.
And you have the Giants have a chance out of all those guys?
Yep. I really do.
That surprises me.
I think they have a chance, but the way they started the year, six quarters of that kind of football, not good, but they have a chance.
I got a few one-word sentences on the next 3 games. Green Bay at Atlanta. Atlanta wins by 1 point. Desmond Ridder.
I like him.
2-0. Who is this guy? He is good.
He's got some heart too. So I think he's very gritty, and I hope he's the next franchise quarterback there in Atlanta. I hope that's a franchise. I've always appreciated the Atlanta Falcons franchise. And maybe I'm feeling extra nostalgic these days because Coach Prime is doing such a great job in Colorado. I feel for the classic Falcons, but I like Desmond Ridder.
I do too. I really thought he was like, I watched the highlights of him. He really is fast. He throws a good ball. He's bouncing around. I never heard of him. Getting fired up. This is a great start for Atlanta. I really, really like their game. On the flip side, I thought Jordan Love had a lot of moments that he looked really good today. He almost looks like Rodgers too.
Yep.
He throws the ball. Sometimes he throws the ball like Rodgers, and another game that ended on a weird 4th and 10 non-conversion.
Yeah, right.
That Green Bay game. Strange ending. All right, Baltimore at Cincinnati, 0-2 Cincinnati. The bounce back game did not happen. Baltimore rushed for 178 yards. Baltimore might be legit. Cincinnati might be okay.
Cincinnati's in trouble.
I think of all the 0-2s that should be better, that's a red flag, don't you think?
I really think so, Pat. They're just I don't know. They got some issues. Um and I don't know what the answer is. You have all the weapons, right? I mean,
Mhm.
they have everything they need.
I don't get it either. I haven't looked at their stuff that closely, but they're losing. Who was last week that they played? Baltimore's a good team. I don't know I forgot who they played last week, but maybe their schedule is just hard. This early part, Burrow had the offseason, the preseason injury. Maybe they're just going to be the
Could
slow
be.
starter. If you're a Cincinnati fan, you got to think we're a slow starter this year and we're going to pick it up.
They're in trouble. Another team that surprisingly is in trouble, in my opinion, is the Chargers.
You think they're in trouble, or you think they do this every year?
He got me there.
Chargers. Who is the other team I was going to compare them to? I was like Chargers and this other team. They just find ways to play great games and lose these great games.
Hey, let's see. Let's
Doesn't
see
it
if the
seem that way?
let's see if the Browns start 2-0 tomorrow.
Mm.
That's that, and Pittsburgh's 0-2.